division, and of course the higher the division, the more points at the higher seeding and whatnot. But the top 3 teams will be going to the HoN Tour Finals to an undisclosed location. Hasn't been announced yet. But 4 through 11, the top 4 through 11 teams, they will then battle it out in an 8-team tournament to be that 4th and final team. And then the top 4 teams from all that, they'll eventually meet up at the grand finals for the HoN Tour event. And that is going to be epic. So that's kind of how the points come into play. But as far as the prize pool, the $10,000 prize pool for this tournament, the top 32 teams actually are getting a piece of the action here as far as money goes. So not only do you want to compete to try to make those higher divisions, you're competing for at least some money here. So
yeah, it's going to be great. I mean, that's incentive, if not just to be in the top divisions, to play for some money in this qualifying tournament. And I really like the format of having the top 3 teams. They win, and then having the rest of them, 4 through 11, battle it out.
Yes.
That is so cool to me. That's really awesome. Format, and so I'm really excited for that. But it does look like we actually are ready to go. So I'm going to jump in the game after you.
Yes, we are. So it looks like both teams are actually in the game. So we're jumping in a little bit right here. But here we are. We have PUDG versus Dynasty. PUDG is actually going to be on the Legion side, and Dynasty is actually going to be on the Hellborn side. So just about ready to go here and jump into what is, I'm sure, going to be a great game. Number 1, of course, between these 2 teams. Again, a best out of 3 series. This is a winner's bracket, so no matter what happens here, obviously they're technically still in the tournament, just going to drop down to the loser's bracket. But that does still, you want to advance on, obviously, to the top side. You have to play, or you get to play, I should say, so many less matches as a result of working your way through the winner's bracket. So there's not all those chances of, being knocked out against maybe some no-name teams or whatnot. So yeah, looks like, again, the teams are ready to go, and we are in the game. In fact, going to the banning stage. So let's go ahead and look to jump in to what is going to be game number 1, Tralf.
Of course,
all right.
Oh.
Sorry. No, please.
All right. Of course, as you mentioned, PUDG, or Mega Beaver's team, or Dendy's Jungle Devos, is on the leading side. And of course, vTiD on the Hellborn side. Let's quickly go ahead and wrap up what has already happened, as we've jumped in a little bit late here. But the blind bans, I can't exactly tell. Okay, Pebbles, Parasite, Tundra, Fate has already been banned. That leaves Ophelia was blind banned. Paris, no. Wild Soul was blind banned. And it looks like Silhouette
yes.
was blind
three
banned.
blind bans, it looks like.
Yep. So one of them doubled up there. Final 2 bans coming out with Jerizai and Draconis. Quickly go over the lock pool. We have Magebane, Master of Arms, Dark Lady. So Magebane and Dark Lady making it in that lockpick pool. And then, of course, Luna Glacius. So your 2 very strong supports. And then finally, Keeper of the Forest. Keeper of the Forest, of course, hero that we see all the time. And has been very popular in that suicide role in particular. But Mega Beaver has the first pick right here. He's right-clicking that Meraxis. Will he take that? There's a lot of good stuff there still. There's that Meraxis as he's right-clicking. There's that Tempest. There's that Bubbles. He's even right-clicking that Warbeast, so he's got options.
You know what's standing out to me in that lock pool is, well, not only the massive carry, I mean, both Dark Lady and Magebane, so those are some good options there for either one of these teams. As Warbeast is actually going to be the first pick up here coming out from PUDG, so exciting things coming from them. But Master of Arms is an interesting lock, and I want to bring that up because, of course, as I said, we've casted PUDG before. This is a team that we know at least somewhat about. Payless, I recall, playing a very, very good Master of Arms. I remember him having some awesome performances, using that Master's Call very effectively at clutch times in the defensive manner, and it was a lot of fun to watch. So it's not too surprising to me to see him in that lock pool here, and eventually maybe even picked up by PUDG. As again, he's proven that he can play that very effectively.
Yeah, I do remember that as well. And one of the other things, too, to mention, now that you've talked about that, is the blind ban of Silhouette. We don't normally see a Silhouette blind banned. Yeah. See him banned, or see her banned from time to time, but I do know that Tails69, he picks and plays Silhouette a lot. And maybe PUDG has done their homework, and rightfully so, and they banned that out. They don't want to give him that comfort hero. But right now we got Bubbles and Polywog Priest. Of course, Polywog did go through a little minor nerfs, you might say, but not the biggest deal in the world. Still has a very strong pushing presence, and still the ability to ward trap right when you hit level 6 is always just so devastating to that solo mid hero. And then response, very interesting picks coming out from PUDG with Demented Shaman Dampier.
Yeah, Dampier, not a hero we see really often on the competitive scene. I mean, he's one of those heroes that maybe trickles in every once in a while, kind of like that Gauntlet pickup or something like that, but definitely not a popular hero. Demented Shaman on top of that. So Warbeast, Demented Shaman, Dampier, a very unique team in the making so far. coming out from PUDG. But as you were pointing out, you know, they're known to doing the level 1 Conquerors, and this is definitely a team that's known perhaps to doing some different things when it's all said and done. And I was actually curious for vTiD Dynasty being a Latin American team. I personally, you know, we really haven't had the chance to cover too many of these teams. Obviously, with them just getting their own client even recently, so I'm sure their scene's building up, which is great for them. But I was interested to see, you know, what if they were going to play maybe a little bit unique, as we know, like the Southeast Asian teams. But their lineup, I mean, seems pretty strong. Bubbles, Polywog Priest, and then Nymphora as their final regular pick. Keeper of the Forest, though, taken out of that lock pool over here from PUDG.
I saw that coming just so far away. Of course, they already had their Warbeast who was first picked. They're at a comfortable spot, PUDG is, because there's 2 hard carries in there, both arguably just as strong as the other. 2 hard supports, both arguably strong as as the other. Being a Luna Glacius, Dark Lady Magebane. You don't have to pick any of those right now, especially with vTi picking Nymphora as their last pick in the regular picking stage. They're probably not going to pick both those hard supports, and they're actually going to take Master of Arms. So I'm interested to see how they actually lane this. It's probably going to be a straight-up tri-lane for that Dark Lady, a Suicide Bubbles, I want to say, and the solo mid Polywog Priest. But I feel like that lineup is strong, but PUDG with the Suicide Keeper and then having a jungler on top of that with Warbeast, I feel like they're just going to outfarm vTi. We'll have to wait and see. But right here, I do expect something like probably a Luna here would be, I think, the most appropriate pick right here. Obviously, they don't want Magebane because that Domination Shaman's probably going to be in that solo role, I would assume.
Yeah.
So the way that they have these heroes set up, probably Dampier plus X, X being Glacius or Luna in this lane, bottom with Dampier. I'm going to guess a Luna.
Yeah, that is going to be interesting to see how they eventually play that out. Now, as far as vTi, it is going to be Glacius actually, instead of with their final pick. I mean, as far as vTi Dynasty over here, the Master of Arms pick is a little bit intriguing to me because you know, it makes sense. They're probably going to be running that tri-lane setup, so it makes you wonder a little bit why they didn't go with the Luna or Glacius instead. But hey, you know, Master of Arms, we've definitely seen his support potential. He's a pretty powerful hero in his own right, and you know, as I was mentioning, Payless over here for PUDG actually has proven to play a very good Master of Arms, so maybe they'll play it just fine themselves. And he definitely has support potential for sure. So I am intrigued to see, you know, how they use him in that support role. I do see a lot of the chat going on. It looks like one of the players over here on vTi Dynasty is having some issues. So apparently they may look to remake the match, and I'm not exactly sure how that works with the HoN Tour. I know it is possible. I know that's been obviously talked about, and I'm not exactly sure though if it actually remakes the HoN Tour lobby for you. I would think it would.
Yeah.
But again, I'm not exactly sure. So
I'm going to try to get confirmation on that as well.
Yeah, because obviously we not too certain about that. We're just the lonely casters, right? We're just here to cover the matches. So as far as this game goes, gonna try to get that figured out and get back to these guys ASAP. But yeah, I didn't get the chance to do a ping all in the players. But what server is this, by the way?
It's the US East.
East, yeah. I believe the Latin American scene, the Brazilian players and whatnot. Usually the US East is their is a server that they prefer to play on, if I'm not mistaken, even against Americans. But for whatever reason, I mean, they're saying he was pinging about 350 to 400 though, and that's pretty high up there. That's not the friendliest of pings. So I could understand, of course, them wanting to go for a remake. But we did see actually earlier that was No Friends, I believe was his name, from Squirtle. Of course, the team that we casted earlier, the team that was victorious earlier from the losers bracket. He was having about 330 ping, being from Australia. So, but hey, he managed to make it work. I still can't get over, you know, you were talking about that earlier. It's pretty ridiculous. Anyway, that's something that they have to deal with. And, well, Latin American teams and, of course, the Southeast Asian teams, which actually are in this event as well. That is something that they have to deal with. So yeah, looking forward to getting game number 1 started. But again, trying to get this figured out as far as what exactly we need to make happen here. An announcement we did make earlier, actually, going into today's coverage before the first series that we covered, was we talked a little bit about some interesting storylines from the first day. And really the one that stood out was a couple results, how Complexity actually ended up having to forfeit their first round match. Unfortunately, I guess Haxrin was actually having some lag / DDoS issues even. And as a result of that, they were there to play, but he wasn't able to, you know, log on appropriately and actually get into the game. So they ended up getting a forfeit loss. And but because of the circumstances, they were allowed to, well, obviously, you know, they just moved down to the losers bracket. but they're allowed to play on. So from my understanding today, I mean, they're good to go. And they advanced on after today, but Orange Esports actually fell under a very similar block as well. They actually won their first round matchup, but then they had to unfortunately forfeit their second round as a result of not being able to make it to the second round match, because I guess they had to make some flights or something, and they weren't able to do so. So yeah, Orange and Complexity are actually in the losers bracket already of this tournament. So you look at that and it's like, well, that kind of sucks, but it is still for the good of everyone. Let's be honest, that they actually are still in the event, because now this way they wouldn't have to get knocked down to bronze from the beginning and just massacre their way through there. So there's still a good chance that they could ultimately make that Diamond Division, which is what you expect out of those two teams. But hey, they're gonna have to go do it from the losers bracket now. So it looks like, okay, so we got a rule that you can remake, but you have to go through the HoN Tour button again. So we have to redo the lockpick. Okay, so if that is the case,
yeah, and it sounds like, I was talking to Milkfed, but it sounds like, yeah, I mean, he's saying that a lot of the servers are lagged, and I was talking with Milkfed, because this is a Latin American team, that's just the nature of it. I mean, you're playing on a different client, that's something that you have to deal with. So
yeah, so it looks like they're going to try for at least one remake here, and then we'll get that going. So of course, we're just now needing to wait for them real quickly to get the remake going, but it did sound like, so I'm now, so here's the thing, I wonder if they're going to actually do different picks now.
No.
You don't think so? So they're just going to make sure to do the same locks and everything?
Yeah, I don't think the locks and all that is the biggest deal. It's just as long as they pick the right heroes and swap around.
Yeah.
So
okay, so hopefully, again, it doesn't take too long here if that's the case. It really shouldn't. So.
Although for stat purposes, it would be appropriate and nice to have everything exactly the same. But
see, that's actually a fun thing to talk about, though, and it really, just yet another great thing that we're getting out of the HoN Tour event is obviously on the HoNTour.com website. I'm sure you've noticed by now. You've probably been to yourself, and if you haven't, you need to check it out. There's plenty of news articles and everything, as well as all the match updates. But there's also a statistics section, and I myself, I love stats. I'm just a numbers kind of guy, if you haven't known that by now. So it is a lot of fun to look through, all these stats of like which hero was banned, certain win percentages, the kill to death ratios, GPM. So it is a lot of fun, and majority, if not all of that information, is automatically recorded. Yet again, another automated thing about this HoN Tour event, and it's going to be fun to see how that adds up throughout the season. I mean, so kind of going off your point, though, yeah, that you're all right, but at the same point, this is just one of what thousands of matches that is going to be happening. So
I mean, it goes both ways. Every little match counts, and especially when you have heroes that you don't see that often jump in the game or that are banned or whatnot. But it was a pretty standard lock pick, so not the biggest deal in the world.
Very true. So that is going to be fun, though, to see how that develops over time for sure, and to see who's on top of the list. Because initially, I wouldn't be surprised if it is maybe a little bit skewed. Of course, naturally that'll just happen. And we'll see some people with like 900 gold per minute at the top of the charts. You're like, well, that's an average of that. No, probably not an average, but they may have had one or two just awesome games. But, as the seasons go on, as the divisions start placing out and everything, we're getting an idea, from the gold, from the silver, from the bronze, from the diamond, of course, where these players rank amongst one another. So that definitely is going to be a lot of fun. I'm going to go ahead and see if they actually are in the game. It looks like they have loaded back into the game.
Okay.
So I'm going to load it myself, and let's go ahead and look to jump back into game number 1 here, as PUDG is going to be taking on vTiD Dynasty. All right, so there we go. Looks like the bans. There's a Swift Play ban. I don't know if that was that would be normal, but I don't remember. Let's just hope, for the sake of us, really, that they actually pick and lock. Well, again, not even lock necessarily, just pick the same heroes. So let's just hope that happens. So we're going to go into the banning phase now. Just ban heroes that aren't picked. And
hopefully they don't accidentally ban a hero they're picking. That would be the worst thing, because then they have to go remake again.
All right, so we're in the picking stage. Here we go. Let's see if they can do this correctly. So I believe PUDG, they first picked, it was Warbeast. Then, Polywog Bubbles.
They have a good memory.
Demented Shaman Dampier and Nymphora. There you go. First pick, Keeper of the Forest, and it was Master of Arms, Dark Lady. That's right. And then it was Glacier's final pick. So,
yep.
All right, come on, cross our fingers. Hope this works out. All right.
Not bad.
Yes, they made it. Woo! Yes, that deserves a round of applause indeed. It looks like the latency is actually fairly decent now.
It's much better for overmeters.
It is much. It's an average of under 200 actually. So yeah.
He was sitting at 380 sometimes. So the remake was great, and
yeah.
There you go. So if you guys are watching and you have a similar situation with your match, then that's exactly what you're going to have to do. So. And I think they said they get up to, I think it's 3 remakes total.
I think I saw you say 3, yeah. Okay. Yeah, so just in case, obviously, you know, don't abuse that by any means. But
right.
if it so happens, like in this certain case, then definitely I'll look to take advantage of that. But here we go, game number 1, PUDG versus vTiD Dynasty. Again, if you are just tuning in, we got PUDG, a team that we know a little bit by now, Dendy's Jungle Devos. They're going up against vTiD Dynasty, vTiD MSI Dynasty. I should actually start saying that. I mean, again, they're apparently sponsored by MSI, and of course that's a sponsor that's been around the scene or on the scene before. Obviously, Fnatic MSI, now known as Fnatic Raid Call, but they've been around the scene, and so it's cool to see them, you know, being involved once again. We do see right here Warby sending out his minions, going to spot and scout out vTiD, trying to find themselves something, but not going to find any action just yet. But yeah, this is a Latin American team who was actually one of the 2 Latin American teams that did qualify for DreamHack winner. So kind of think of this even as a preview of what to expect from them, definitely.
Yeah, definitely. It looks like we are going to see an aggressive tri-lane from vTiD MSI, and they're going to be down here. It's going to be a support MOA, or second support MOA, and a support Nymphora. And they just want to man up against this lane, but it looks like we've already seen, I'm guessing, some switcheroos coming out from PUDG as they're sending Darkly, or not Darkly, but Dampier Glacius in that dual lane mid against the Polywog Priest, and that's going to be devastating for her. If they don't have a response from vTiD, then Polywog's going to get very crushed there in that lane. That being said, it looks like Keeper of the Forest is going to make his way towards the bottom lane to suicide against those 3. That's great. You always want to have your suicide against as many heroes as possible. And then they're shaping up to have a Demented Shaman in the suicide lane. This is not something you never see, but it is against one hero, and that's Bubbles. And that's actually a favorable matchup, as we talked about, for PTOB, or PTOB.
Yeah, PTOB here. You would think, you know, we've seen some dominating Demented Shaman performances in that solo role, and definitely expect him to have a fairly decent time at least against Bubbles. Being played by Overmuse here for vTiD Dynasty. This middle lane, though, specifically Dampier, I am very intrigued on, as I'm sure a lot of viewers are as well. This is a hero, again, we don't get to see a lot of. He is a very fun hero, though, and he can snowball by all means. I mean, especially, you know, he gets that consume off, especially on a hero for a kill. He gets the 3 charges, and he will just start snowballing like crazy. I mean, what insight do you have to give us here on Dampier Trail?
Yeah, he does have a lot. He's played similar to, like, Pebbles, except he has shorter cooldowns. And I think he has a little bit more of that late game to him, but he doesn't do enough. He doesn't do really as much damage as Pebbles, and doesn't. I don't know. It just feels a lot different. But he's played very similarly to a Pebbles. Doesn't obviously have the health like a Pebbles because he's not a strength hero, but he's very fun to watch, and he can be very effective if given the farm. Like you mentioned, he's a very snowball type of hero. Now we already see some early roam coming out from MOA and Nymphora. This was their idea. They wanted to go against what they thought was going to be a dual lane down there, and then also apply a lot of pressure to the jungler, being that War Beast. And they've done a little bit of that. Here's the only problem, though, is these 2 supports are going to be so gimped. They're going to be level 1 for quite some time. And it's hard. There was a really great response from PUDG putting that Keeper of the Forest bottom. We already see a response from Tiore on that War Beast. He's going to go up top into the enemy jungle and just farm up there. And that's going to, again, make it even harder for these 2 supports, being MOA and Nymphora, to get those levels.
Yeah, and you know, these 2 heroes, I mean, I don't know, I'm trying to sit here and think. I mean, they're not Andromeda Behemoth by any means. They have some roam potential for sure. I mean, you got a solid Zeal Storm for Nymphora. You have Master of Arms with that charged shot ability. He can definitely assist with some good CC and damage, but, you know, again, it's not your prime roaming heroes to go with. So, yeah, you see right there, they were trying to maybe set something up here in the middle lane, but PUDG did a pretty good job of expecting something coming up, and Dampier just kind of played a little bit passive, and he's more than fine. We did see an adjustment as well. Glacius coming to the top lane. Bubbles in a lot of trouble. Bloodlust kill. Yes, a Bloodlust kill going to come out. Mega Beaver on Glacius with the bitch slap right there, and picks up the Bloodlust kill. So, good job from Glacius, roaming up there with the haste rune, setting up the Bloodlust.
Yeah, actually, Bubbles was doing very well in that lane, but before that gank, he was actually out-CSing Demented Shaman, not something you see every day. You know, of course, he is in the short lane, but that shouldn't really matter against the Demented Shaman. He really should have the edge in that lane. But Glacius, yeah, good job by him doing some roaming already. Now has himself picked up a pair of boots and is going to find himself back in this mid lane against this Polywog Priest and what is now a dual lane with that MOA. Nymphora is still staying here at the bottom. Is actually doing some stacking now that she can't find really that much to do. So she did double stack those Ancients right there, a double stack of Predastars. But this is the beauty of Keeper of the Forest, man. I mean, he's able to just farm down here, and you can't really die. Like, he's just got too much health. And, of course, he doesn't have enough mana for the Nature's Veil right now, but in just a little bit, he'll be able to have that, and they can't kill him unless they get Dust or Sentries. But even if they do,
he's tanky,
he's just so tanky.
Regen. Yeah, and that's the great thing about the Nature's Veil. It's such a powerful tool. I mean, it's obviously, there's several abilities in the game for many heroes where it does multiple things, of course, but I mean, it gives you regen, it gives you armor, it makes you invisible, you can use it on teammates. It really is a ridiculous tool when you think about it. So, yeah, Ultimate Defense here on Keeper of the Forest, he is, by all means, going to have a good time. I mean, he's level 4, so as you put it, it's just, you know, what can you do against that? He's obviously not maximizing farm by any means, but hey, he's getting experience as at the very least you want, and staying alive. So, I want to go back to Dampier real quickly, and actually something that just hit me as well. Now, I don't know if this is maybe something viable. I know in TMM, but hold that thought though for a second. Polywog Priest is going to get jumped right here. Dampier doing a lot of damage. Glacius with the assistance got a Hex. Is it going to be enough? The uphill auto attack misses, actually, and Glacius will not get the kill. That is RNG big time in favor of Polywog Priest right there. And he has a invisibility rune actually bottled up, which was given to him by Master of Arms. And he's going to go ahead and use that in regen. Wow, that could not have been any more lucky for Polywog Priest.
I mean, what is it? I think it's 40% though, right? I think it's a 40%.
It's a pretty high percentage, yeah.
Yeah, so it's not like, oh my god, it's actually more than a Baron Tangle, if you think about it.
And actually, Glacius is going to fall right here, Tim.
Yeah, so using it in humiliation.
Not after we see that.
Yeah, so he taunted. Maybe that was from way before.
I think that was before, yeah.
But nonetheless, they do get a counter kill onto Glacius, so good job there. And now, and good roam from Nymphora. Now, let's look at the early CS. Dark Lady's actually doing quite well, 25 and 11. I'm surprised, actually, it's even that high. Against a Keeper of the Forest who does have a hatchet of his own. And with 77 max damage plus a hatchet, that's more than Dark Lady and actually should be able to be fine in this lane, especially with the roaming going around from MOA and Nymphora.
Yeah.
So Dark Lady doing a good job down here. Of course, Dark Lady can take over games, will carry much harder than Dampier if the game is somewhat even for them.
What about Warbeast?
Yeah, oh yeah. Dark Lady's like the hardest hitting carry in the late game, no question.
Okay, so back to Dampier, though, real quickly. Spell Shards. Spell Shards were buffed recently. And this is actually one of the few heroes in the game where I think Spell Shards, it seems pretty viable. I mean...
Yeah, it is viable, actually. And it would do a lot of damage to all these heroes. I mean, none of these heroes are beefy heroes by any means.
Yeah.
And so the burst potential from Dampier is just increased that much more. And so, yeah, I could definitely see Spell Shards being picked up on him. I think a build-up item to that maybe would be like something like a Grave Locket. But here's some initiation onto Polywog Priest. He is most definitely going to die. Even Warbeast comes into play. He didn't even have to, though. I'm pretty sure they had enough damage without him. But once he gets him assisted, and yeah, look at Warbeast, already level 6. And this is the result. I mean, he already got roamed on early on from both MOA and the Nymphora, but, you know, went to the other jungle and is actually getting very good levels in farm. And that is the reason why they're up so much in golden experience this early. I mean, look at that, 6 minutes in, 2,300, 3,300 in experience, and that's just simply jungling for you.
Yeah, as a team, very, very good for them, but you do pull up the gold per minute chart, and as you're going at, Mr. Kid here playing the Dark Lady, he's having a very good time, 340 gold per minute by himself, so that's definitely the good news and the thing to lean back on here for VTI MSI Dynasty. We do see Dark Lady's going to initiate. The Dark Blades are up, so Keeper of the Forest cannot go invisible right now. Zealstar will miss. It hits at the back end, though. The Forked Lightning from Master of Arms puts up enough damage for Mr. Kit there on Dark Lady to get the kill himself. So even more good news, the fact that Dark Lady got that kill, 380 gold per minute all of a sudden. She actually has 1,800 gold saved up right now, and she's just going to continue to farm with it. May eventually go to the side shop, pick up the Ghost Marchers or the Steam Boots. We'll see. Meanwhile, in the middle lane, Dampier taking the Kelp Field right there. Trying to go for kill on the Polywog Priest, but at what cost right here? He's going to maybe turn this around. Shell Surf will hit. Dampier takes some tower damage. But in the end, oh, the Electric Jolt does not hit, and that is the nerf for you.
Yep.
Yeah, if that was not nerfed this latest patch, that would have been the kill right there. Warbeast trying to get away in the meantime at the jungle. The Zeal Stun misses, though, and Warbeast, no, he's going to run into Dark Lady. And actually, they may have worked out even better, because Dark Lady picks up the kill.
I was just going to say, that was a blessing in disguise right there. Yeah, that was a direct result of the nerf. You know, 100% that, okay, I would have said like 90. It was very close, but that I'm pretty sure that Jolt would have hit and had that kill on Dampier. So, there you go, coming into play. It's always kind of interesting when you see it happen right in front of your eyes.
In real time. It's like, yeah, that would have been a kill previous to that balance patch. So, hey, but, you know, changes happen all the time. You got to adjust to them. But, man, I mean, that was an interesting sequence of events right there. Dampier going in, thought he had a sure kill, but great job porting in from Bubbles. And obviously, eventually looking to turn it around. Didn't end up getting the kill, but we did see the bottom lane. At least Darklady got another kill. There's the Ghost Mark just delivers. They're going the Noob G route here, and also picks up a life tube from the side shop as well. So Darklady definitely off to a very, very good start here. So if you're PUDG, I mean, obviously overall things have been working out fairly well, but are you at all concerned about that too much?
Well, they have really good team fight. You have heals on top of the Keep of the Forest. And already Keeper of the Forest gets that ultimate off and does so much damage. War Beast is doing a lot of damage as well. But no, the charging strikes and no, a couple more auto attacks, if not just one, gets the kill. And now Nymphora's in a lot of trouble, has no boots, unfortunately. He's a couple more auto attacks and he will be toast. In the meantime, there's some action going on other ways. Tail 69 picks up a kill onto P-Top, but that was a big dive and good job by PUDG getting those 2 kills.
Well, yeah, the biggest thing here, they were not able to report to the bottom tower because he just came up top to get a kill. But now it's going to work out poorly for them because Dampier charges in. The Vampiric Flight on top of the Terrorize sets up a kill right there onto, who was that? That was actually a Master of Arms. And Polywalk Brace is going to sit next to the tower. So, man, talk about just a complete momentum burst all of a sudden right there for PUDG. I mean, yeah, right. A minute ago, I mean, this game was very, very even, if anything. And right now, all of a sudden, it is just being dominated by PUDG even. We do see Warbeast is going to jump on right here by Darklady. Not nearly enough for the kill, though. What a Shelter Fate? Yes, it will, but Bubbles decides not to pour. Master of Arms porting in. However, Nature's Veil going to be used by Keeper of the Forest, and he will be fine. So, but yeah, all of a sudden we're looking at a 5,000 gold lead, 5,400 experience lead, and we're just now 9.5 minutes into the game. So PUDG is really feeling it here. Now, Darklady is still overall the top gold farmer in the game, but that has decreased a lot actually. Yeah, and her lead is, well, it's getting close to being even.
Yeah, I didn't want to say that early on, but I really do feel like vTiD got a bit out-drafted here. Just the fact that you're going to have 2 very strong pushers being Keeper of the Forest and Warbeast, not to mention one of them has an amazing AoE ultimate, and also the ability to suicide extremely effectively, being that Keeper of the Forest. On top of that, massive heals work so well with massive push. And Demented Shaman, he's not being played as a support here, so big seal of approval coming out from me to you, PUDG, as having that Demented Shaman in a solo role. It's just so much better, and it's so effective with pushers. Yeah. And we're seeing that right here. And Dampier, it doesn't matter what hero Dampier is. It doesn't matter. It could be Blitz, honestly. Just the fact that they fit this, I'm serious. They fit this lineup perfectly. Yeah. And they fit the formula, and it's going to work out really, really well for them.
Yeah, we do see the 1 consume charge currently on Dampier. Of course, he's really looking for the 3 charges. That's where he really becomes amped. But even with the 1, he's already doing more damage from his abilities. He's chasing right here. He wants to get a Vampiric Flight. We saw earlier the range on that actually seems pretty ridiculous. Seems even longer than what it says. But meanwhile, at the top lane, Demented Shaman will get picked off. So good job there by the Hellborn team, but you said it, mass push coming out here for the Legion side, and Warbeast doesn't even have Battlecry actually. He chose to max out that Primal Rage, but boy oh boy are these towers falling freaking quickly. You see Keeper of the Forest up there in the front lines, Darklady covered, Darkness going to come out. Here's a chance for the Hellborn team maybe? No, they're not going to initiate actually. They just chose to do that for destruction. Kelfield even being used, but they're not actually initiating. This is more just trying to stall them as much as possible. Nice now right there. But Keeper the Forest with the Ritual, but at what cost? Bubbles now in a little bit of trouble. Will Shelter port away, so he will be fine. But Nymphoria dies. Good deny on the tower though at least. But that was an interesting choice of ability usage right there.
Well, he just wanted to. I just think he wanted to use it. He felt like, why not? You know, we're not going to push after this, so might as well get at least in the mid lane. We're not going to keep pushing in the mid lane after this. They need to get this tower and get back right away. They already expended all their spells. And but yeah, look at that lead and just look at that push. They weren't even using Demented Shaman in it. He was up in the top just farming that, or he was in base at some point. But yeah, their lead is huge right now. And this is the meta, guys. It's a suicide. It's 1-1. And a suicide and a short lane, dual lane mid. Of course, you can go bottom, depending on what you're facing, and then having a jungler because you're getting massive amounts of experience and farm. Whereas, look at vTiD Dynasty. They had 2 roaming supports that are getting nothing, and actually even more roam. Mr. Kid's in a lot of trouble playing that Darklady. He still has 330 gold per minute, but just can't get any farm elsewhere without having this massive aggression put on him.
Well, we saw the portal key just picked up by Dampier, and right away using it right there to help guarantee the kill onto Darklady. So that Terrorize kept her in place, and of course just the flight on top of it. He didn't even use the ultimate actually. But I also love this Dampier skin. The fact that he transforms like he does when he has the 3 essence charges is pretty badass in my opinion. But yeah, it's looking very good right now for PUDG. We do see a vote coming out from Mega Beaver, so quick phone call apparently. So hopefully not the longest phone call. Hopefully it's not his mother or anything. Don't want to take too long here. But Demented Shaman. He's like, you know what? You guys have your fun at the bottom and middle lane. I'm just going to keep doing my thing up top here. PUDG, you know, he's died twice, but he's still farming 346 gold per minute overall. And he's very likely going to push this tower in, unless we have a vulnerability, which I don't even think they do at this point. I mean, you said it, though. The mass push, it is showing off. We're not even 13 minutes into this game. There's already 4 towers. It's going to be a 5th tower, really, at 13 minutes in. Not too often you see that.
Yeah, and look, at Dampier is being, like we mentioned, played similarly to a Pebbles.
Yeah.
He's got the steam boots, he's got the portal key, jumps in, and combos. And it's almost a more secure combo because it can't miss. Like, you press your spells, it goes right to them, and it doesn't miss. You just click on them. Right, Pebbles, there's a little bit more room for error, but, you know, they have their pros and cons. Regardless, though, the big thing is they have this huge push with Demented Shaman, having his heals behind them. Like I said, they weren't even using him in that last exchange. And you know, when they do decide to start grouping up as 5 behind that Demented, or in front of that Demented Shaman, I see that it's going to be really difficult for them to do anything. They do have good counter push in Bubbles, particularly in Bubbles and MOA, but I don't think it's going to be enough, especially if you can get a portal key. Oh, right on cue, portal key on the Keeper of the Forest, who can now jump on them and start that initiation.
Yeah, there was a deny there at the top tower, so good news, I guess, for the Hellborn team, but the tower is still dead, and that's still 5 towers that are down. Only 1 outer tower remains at this point for the Hellborn side in vTiD MSI Dynasty. So, yeah, finding themselves in a very sticky situation here. 13.5 minutes in. Warbeast, man. Warbeast is just, well, he's pretty farmed himself. 407 gold per minute. He's got the Abyssal score. Had that for a while even. He has a Mighty Blade. Yeah, Shrunken Head more than likely on the win, especially once he gets that Shrunken Head. I mean, good luck stopping him. Now, we talk about this all the time. Bubbles is usually a pretty good counter to Warbeast in that sense, but Drunken Head, he's like, I don't care. Go ahead and put that kill field out. So, yeah, that's going to be a very deadly item, and maybe even the item that really does in this Hellborn team. But for now, of course, as they should, vTiD Dynasty going to try to fight it out. Dark Lady, she's still continuing to get actually very good farms. So big shout out to Mr. Kid right there. For doing that. Rune Cleaver is on the way, and at this rate still would be not too bad. But once again, you see the jump come out. You see the burst potential. Nothing Dark Lady could do right there. Nymphora being chased down by, look at the Warbeast diving on top of Nymphora. Is he going to commit for the kill right here? Doesn't have much time left in the ultimate. Out come the Morbians, or the Hounds actually. Ports are coming in. There comes the ultimate deactivated. Nice seals are coming out. Warbeast over a little bit too far. It looks like Tjor wants the kill. Master's Call going to be used so defensively, and Warbeast is going for it all. But in the meantime, actually, Polywalk Priest gets picked up, and Warbeast will survive.
Oh my God.
Wow. How did Tjor survive right there? I have no clue, and he's going to pour it out before death happens.
That was actually a really good juke by Nymphora, right through the trees there, and Master's Call. But yeah, I cannot believe he lived in the meantime, Polywog was trying to help them all out, but got caught in the crossfire, and ultimately died to the last hit was given to Mega Beaver. So yeah, this is looking really, really grim now for vTiD Dynasty. And it's going to be hard for them to kind of jump back in this game because, like I talked about, when you have a hard carry like Dark Lady, yeah, that's awesome. She can really, really carry in that late game, but when she doesn't have a Rune Cleaver at this time, what's going to happen, okay? She's going to farm a Rune Cleaver. I don't even know if she has the other broadsword, the broadsword, the first one.
She does,
yeah, so she's going to have to farm, okay, another 600, then 1,200 after that. And then what happens after that? You're going to have to farm more. So you're still going to be absent from most team fights until you really get like something like a Shrunken Head. But even then, by the time you've used all that time farming up those items, you can only imagine the items that are going to be showing up on the Legion side. Things like Shrunken Head on Warbeast. Things like maybe Hellflower on Dampier. Or, you know, Souls into Demonic on Keeper. I don't know. But you're just going to get massively out-farmed at this rate.
Yeah, it really is the case. Actually, at the bottom lane, once again, a jump happens. Master of Farm stood 0 chance. Yet again, Dampier just way too much. You mentioned he's that snowballing hero similar to Pebbles, and he really is playing exactly like a Pebbles would. He's 3-0-5 right now. He has another 1,400 gold saved up even. He's going to group up with the rest of his team down here at the bottom lane, and they're going to push. Meanwhile, Warbeast with a double damage rune is actually pushing the middle lane. Now, he's the one maybe in a little bit of trouble. Dark Lady, Polywalk Priest, and Nymphora are here. So if they want to go in fact, they try, but Polywalk Priest not able to get close enough. But that might have been for the good, because he sees he's going to try to pour it out. The Legion team is chasing. Ward aside even plays down. Polywalk Priest will be fine. But will Nymphora be fine? Strider's Glacius charging, and it looks like Nymphora is going to make it back to base. But again, you see PUDG right now just going to group up. Yeah, making the smart decision here. They say, you know what, you still have your base, that's fine. We're going to go here to this top tower and finish this thing off and make it so you don't have any vision, any port places, any legitimate farm areas to go with. So they're just going to drop this top tower. There's the war or battle cry being used right there from Warbase. It's only level 1, but still enhancing so much damage for all the minions here on the Legion team between the Tree Dogs and his own. So will they push top? Will they push middle? Will they, I mean, they can push anywhere, honestly, and it's going to be difficult for the Hellboy team to stop. It looks like top is going to be the weapon of choice, though. We'll see. We'll see if anything there's vTiD Dynasty can do here to eventually stop this.
Yeah. Sorry about that. As far as getting back into this game, I don't know, man. It's going to be really hard. The key thing, honestly, is Demented Shaman, because when he has this much farm, it's played similar to like a Jereziah. Almost, you have to kill the healers. It's what you have to do, because the other people are going to get healed. And even then, I mean, he obviously can heal himself too, and if they jump that much onto a Demented Shaman, he's actually quite tanky himself with investments and a little over 1100 HP, and has the Tablet of Command. And then you slap on some armor from Keeper the Forest on top of that. That's what, plus 12 armor? Is it really that much? I didn't even know that. Plagues is 8. Oh my god. Okay.
I like how you literally just realized that.
Actually, in the meantime, as I'm getting just flabbergasted.
This is a hero we never see, so it's understandable.
I know. You gotta give me credit. Oh, 12?
I'm a little bit surprised he actually doesn't have Entmoon yet. That is actually, but hey, you know when you get 12 armor from your Q, why not max it out, right? So, middle lane, we have Dampier actually jumping on a Polywalk Priest, and a very quick kill happening right there. He's still sitting on those 3 essence charges. He's now 4-0-5. He is farming 390 gold per minute. So really, it's not a matter of if, it comes down to a matter of when PUDG is going to look to try to finish this game, because, yeah, Hellborn side and vTiD MSI Dynasty, it's not going to be happening for them. That kind of does go back to as well what you said from the very beginning. It seems like they may have just got a little bit outdrafted. They just weren't ready to. They just weren't prepared to go up against this mass push that PUDG brought to the table. In fact, they're going to kill Kongor here. Yeah, and vTiD is not going to even do anything about it.
Now that we have a minute, I don't think that they're going to contest them. But let's talk about this, because all right, Keeper the Forest, level 4 at Nature's Veil, Invis for 40 seconds, 4 HP health regen for 40 seconds. 12 armor for 40 seconds. Cooldown, 5 seconds. All right, let's compare that to Plague's Cursed Shield. Cooldown, 10 seconds, 8 armor for the same duration. Wow, that is an amazing. So I honestly, I thought it was like maybe 8.
Well, hold on. Cursed Shield, doesn't it reduce attack speed as well?
Oh, boo.
Hold on.
20 attack speed.
Hey, you got to say it all if you're going to make comparisons.
20 attack speed applied to them for 2 seconds.
Yeah. There's something. It's. I said earlier. I mean, it is a. When you think about it, it's an amazing ability. It does 3 things very well. So
yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, we see right here, Keeper the Force and the rest of the team, they are going to mass push this bottom lane. vTiD Dynasty, again, it's a case of they got to make something happen. Dampier says, I'm going to make something happen, though. Jumps in the background. Keeper the Force route coming out. Kefu going to be trying to maybe make this one last chance for vTiD Dynasty. Dark Lady jumps in the background. Look at Dark Lady. She's like, I got this. No, I don't. Never mind. The fat lady singing, and I think that is the cue right there, that this game is probably going to be over soon, and we're going to be moving on to a game number 2 here in this Best of the 3 series. I don't see vTiD Dynasty lasting too much longer. I mean, maybe not going to give up the concede route, but their base is just going to fall at this rate if they don't do something about it. So,
especially when you're sitting in a base with healers with mana rings or rings of sorcery, you can constantly re-heal your team.
Oh yeah,
and they don't even have to go back to base. They can just kind of sit here and there's the mana rings, there's the heals, and I mean, what's vTiD Dynasty going to do right now? There's really nothing for them to do. So
yeah. In fact, PUDG says, you know what? If you're not going to concede, we'll just go ahead and feed some kills. Raise those stats we were talking about. Nymphora and Bubbles are going to be picked off. GG well plays are being called, and that will officially do it for game number 1. It looks like. So game number 2 here in this Best of 3 going to be coming up, obviously in the near future. But you know, again, it goes back to really the picking stage. That's where obviously every game starts. And it really does show you, how important that picking stage is. So perhaps vTiD Dynasty can take a look back at that, the replay, this cast even, look at it and say, you know what? Yeah, they're right. Maybe we could have done some things better there. And then go into game number 2 here with you know, a little bit better of a chance. But PUDG, man, they looked pretty solid there.
12 armor. I can't believe
the game, Ralph.
Sorry.
Not here.
Yeah, no, they did look really solid. It comes to the drafting. It really does. They had them completely out-drafted, and a really good job as responding to what vTiD Dynasty had planned. Of course, they did expect the Dampier dual lane to be in the short lane with the solo mid. Who was that going to be? Probably Demented Shaman at the start. And then Suicide Keeper was going up top first, but they switched it around. They knew that Keeper of the Forest is a hero that you want to have. If you're going to be playing into the Suicide role, you want to have him against more than 2 heroes. If 3 is optimal, because then it means that you're getting lots of experience and they're getting nothing. Of course, it's hard to kill a Keeper of the Forest that will get 12 armor with that level 4 Nature's Veil.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, vTiD Dynasty, again, this is one of the 2 Latin American teams that did qualify for DreamHack winners. So, again, this is kind of a preview, you could say, of what maybe to expect from them. That was just game number 1, but, you know, their opponents, PUDG, let's not take this lightly. PUDG is a very good team, and honestly, they are a team that wouldn't surprise me in the very least to make the Diamond Division and be a top 16 team here in the HoN Tour Qualifiers. And I think, again, we kind of saw right there as to, you know, what I was just saying. So this is a very, very, very good team at the same time. But game number 2, vTiD Dynasty, vTiD MSI Dynasty, will have a chance to kind of redeem themselves, you could say, and try to make something happen and maybe even force that third and final game. But PUDG, they're looking pretty good after that one. So it is going to be a tough road for sure. So with that said, I think we're going to go ahead and take a quick break right here. And, of course, game number 2 going to be coming at you. Stay tuned.